Hello friends! What happens when the rebellious, free-spirited energy of Aquarius meets the fierce, mythical power of the dragon? You get a human being who can light up any room, challenge every rule, and still leave you wondering whether you ever really knew them at all. Today, let's dive deep into the mind and heart of the Aquarius born in the year of the dragon, a rare astrological combo that creates a personality as electric as a lightning storm and as unstoppable as a wildfire. Love, the storm you want to chase. To love an Aquarius dragon is to willingly surrender to a force of nature that refuses to be tamed. Imagine a love affair that feels like standing on the edge of a cliff with the wind whipping your hair, thrilling, slightly dangerous, but impossible to resist. An Aquarius dragon does not love half-heartedly or on autopilot. They love with their entire mind, their relentless curiosity, and that fiery core that comes from the dragon's mythic heart. Their love starts in the mind. They want to be fascinated, mentally aroused, and endlessly surprised. If your conversations feel scripted or shallow, they'll lose interest faster than you can blink. Deep, philosophical debates at midnight are foreplay to them. If you can't keep up mentally, you'll never reach their heart. They're drawn to partners who stand out from the crowd, the oddballs, the artists, the rebels, the ones who wear their weirdness like armor. They find beauty in unconventional souls who don't bow to trends or societal norms. If you're trying to impress an Aquarius dragon, forget expensive gifts or traditional courtship. Impress them with your mind, your humor, and your willingness to question everything. Surprise them with an idea they've never considered, and you'll see their eyes light up with that spark you'll crave to keep forever. Routine is the ultimate romance killer for them. They wither in predictable patterns. Candlelit dinners every Friday at the same spot? Forget it. They'd rather grab street food at 2 a.m. after a last-minute road trip to a city neither of you has ever seen. They fall in love with people who understand that comfort zones are prisons and that true intimacy means growing, evolving, and exploring new corners of each other's minds and bodies. This doesn't mean they're unreliable lovers, quite the opposite. When you earn their trust and loyalty, they'll be fiercely devoted. But freedom is the price of admission. They will not be chained, tracked, or coddled into routine. Clinginess suffocates them. Possessiveness bores them. They thrive in relationships built on trust and mutual respect for each other's independence. They don't want a partner who needs constant reassurance. They want someone so secure in their own skin that love becomes a choice every day, not an obligation. When they love, they do it in big, bold gestures. Expect spontaneous road trips to nowhere, surprise weekend getaways, unexpected gifts that show they were listening when you mentioned your favorite childhood candy or the book you always wanted. They adore creating memories that feel cinematic. A stolen kiss in a rainstorm, a dance in an empty street, a whispered confession under the stars. But buckle up, the emotional ride is not always smooth. Aquarius dragons can be infuriatingly hot and cold. One day they'll tell you they've never felt this way before, that you're the only soul who gets them, and the next, they'll vanish behind an emotional wall so thick you'll wonder if you dreamed it all. They retreat not because they don't care but because solitude is how they recharge. They need to slip away to remember who they are outside of you, and when they come back, it's often with even more passion to pour into the connection. Arguments with them are mental duels. They're quick-witted, sharp-tongued, and hate to lose. But unlike some signs, they rarely hold grudges if the fight is fair. They respect partners who stand their ground and challenge them. A lover who always agrees with them is a lover they'll eventually outgrow. Sex, for them, is woven deeply into this mental and emotional thrill. The more you can intrigue their mind, the more open they become to exploring pleasure without limits. They want to break rules in the bedroom just like they do in life. Routine kills desire. Tease them, play with ideas, turn fantasies into reality, and you'll discover how wildly inventive they can be. Their greatest gift in love is their unwavering faith in possibility. They'll push you to dream bigger, to live more honestly, to discover parts of yourself you never knew existed. They'll cheer on your weirdest ambitions and remind you that life is too short to settle for anything less than extraordinary. But their greatest flaw? They can be heartbreakers without meaning to be. If the relationship turns stale or you try to control them, they'll disappear like smoke through your fingers. They don't believe in staying for the sake of appearances. They'll mourn deeply but refuse to linger in something that suffocates their spirit. If you want to hold an Aquarius dragon's heart for life, you must be both a lover and a friend, an anchor and a fellow adventurer. Give them freedom, fuel their mind, surprise their senses, and they'll keep choosing you, day after day, storm after storm. In the end, loving an Aquarius dragon is not for the faint-hearted. It's for those who crave a partner who feels like a question mark and an exclamation point all at once. It's a love that will never stop challenging you, and never, ever stop making you feel alive. Marriage, a free spirit in a binding contract. Marriage for an Aquarius dragon is like trying to bottle the wind, a beautiful idea in theory, but it needs to be done with care, or you'll find yourself grasping at empty air. These people carry a contradiction in their bones, a deep, sincere desire for a true partner, and an equally fierce instinct to protect their freedom at all costs. The idea of forever excites them, but only if forever doesn't come with a manual of do's and don'ts, and certainly not if it tries to shrink their world to 4 safe walls and predictable Sunday dinners. They crave a marriage that feels like a shared adventure rather than an obligation. To them, vows should mean, I choose you, again and again, not I own you. They dream of a life where both partners remain whole, independent beings, choosing every morning to walk side by side instead of being chained together by guilt, fear, or stale routine. This means they need a spouse who doesn't just tolerate their independence but thrives in it too, someone who understands that a little time apart often makes their bond even stronger. An Aquarius dragon's vision of marriage is built on spacious trust. They believe that 2 souls don't have to be tangled together every second to prove their love. They don't panic if their partner wants a solo vacation or late nights out with friends. They find jealousy suffocating, unnecessary, and, frankly, beneath them. If you try to cage them out of insecurity, they'll start planning their escape. Maybe not physically at first, but emotionally they'll drift away long before the suitcase hits the floor. When it comes to everyday married life, they break molds wherever they find them. They might push for an unconventional living arrangement, separate workspaces, private hobbies, a guest room that doubles as a personal sanctuary when one needs alone time. They see these freedoms not as threats but as tools that keep love alive and vibrant. They want a marriage where curiosity never dies, where their partner remains an intriguing puzzle instead of a solved riddle. They are not domestic by default. Chores, routines, and mundane tasks bore them senseless. They'll gladly pay for services or invent clever systems to dodge monotony so they can spend more time dreaming big with you or chasing their next idea. If you expect them to transform into a perfect homemaker or a traditional spouse, you're in for disappointment, but if you're ready to build a life that defies other people's checklists, you've struck gold. Fights do happen, of course. The Aquarius dragon's sharp tongue and stubborn mind mean arguments can flare up like fireworks. But they rarely hold grudges if the fight is honest and fair. They despise petty drama. They'd rather sit down, talk it out like 2 equals, then move forward. They expect transparency. Secrets make them suspicious, and manipulation is unforgivable. They want raw honesty, even if it stings. Say what you mean what you say, and you'll have their respect. Romantic gestures matter to them, not grand out of obligation, but thoughtful and unexpected. They might forget anniversaries if the date feels forced, but they'll never forget the tiny things that matter to you. They'll surprise you with tickets to a show you mentioned months ago or whisk you away for a midnight picnic just because the stars look good tonight. They're never boring, never static. They believe marriage should feel alive, a constant choice, not an old habit. Their loyalty runs deep, almost fiercely so, but it's conditional on mutual trust. Betray them, lie to them, or cheat, and they won't make a dramatic scene. They'll just close the door and never open it again. Once they're done, they're done. They won't waste energy on second chances for deep betrayals. Their pride and self-respect are unshakable. Children, if they choose parenthood, they're the unconventional type, likely to raise their kids with the same values they cherish: freedom of thought, curiosity, and the courage to stand out. They won't be helicopter parents hovering over every move. Instead, they'll encourage independence, critical thinking, and self-expression. Their household will likely be filled with books, projects, and new ideas. They'll teach by example that marriage and family don't mean giving up your dreams, they mean finding more people to dream with. So what does an Aquarius dragon expect from a spouse? Strength without dominance, loyalty without control, adventure without chaos. They don't want to fix you, and they don't want to be fixed. They want to grow with you, transform with you, and stand beside you as you both become wilder, wiser, and more yourselves. To the outside world, their version of marriage might look strange, too open, too modern, too rebellious. But for them, it works beautifully because it's real. It's not about living up to some dusty notion of what marriage should look like. It's about living a life that stays honest to who they are. A free spirit who wants nothing more than to choose the same wild soul, day after day, because they want to, not because they have to. In the end, marriage to an Aquarius dragon is an open road, not a fenced yard. It's a vow to explore, to question, to build, and to love without ownership. If you can understand that freedom can coexist with loyalty, and that true commitment means never putting out each other's fire, then you're the rare soul who can stand beside an Aquarius dragon for the long run. And trust me, life will never, ever be dull with them as your co-pilot. Sex: electric, experimental, unpredictable. Now, let's linger a little longer in the hidden corners where the Aquarius dragon's passion truly comes alive. To say they crave novelty in the bedroom is an understatement, they need it like air. For them, sex is never just a physical act. It's a mental experiment, an emotional provocation, a spiritual spark, and a daring game played far beyond the bedsheets. Imagine a lover who turns every kiss into a question mark and every night into an unwritten story. That's the Aquarius dragon under the covers and beyond them. Routine is poison to their erotic soul. Nothing turns them off faster than predictable patterns or stale habits. If you try to schedule intimacy like a chore, same time, same place, same moves, you'll see their fire flicker and fade. What thrills them is the idea that every encounter could be different. A new place, a sudden moment, a different side of you that they haven't met yet. The more unconventional the setting, the better. A hidden beach at midnight? An impromptu rendezvous during a lazy afternoon? A stolen moment that feels a little risky? They live for that electric charge. Foreplay, for them, rarely starts in the bedroom. It starts with the mind, a heated argument over wine, a mischievous glance across a crowded room, a sly text that dares you to say what you really want. They're experts at creating a tension that simmers until it demands to be unleashed. And when it is, it's anything but mechanical. They see your body as a map to explore, not a task to complete. Expect teasing, expect laughter, expect sudden shifts from playful to deeply intense and back again. They're not afraid to break taboos. If it's consensual and curious, they'll at least consider it. They crave a partner who doesn't flinch at new ideas, who sees sex not as a duty but as an adventure that never needs a final destination. Bring your fantasies to them, and they'll listen with wide, intrigued eyes. They might even push them further, suggesting twists and turns you hadn't dared to speak aloud. This is how they keep desire burning, by refusing to let the act fossilize into routine. Open conversation is their biggest turn-on. They want to know what makes you blush, what makes you tremble, what secret dreams you're too shy to admit. Talk turns them on, and so does honesty. If you're too embarrassed to say what you like, they'll sense it. And while they might tease it out of you, they'll get bored if they feel you're closed off for good. Vulnerability is sexy to them because it means trust, and trust makes them generous lovers. In return, they're surprisingly unselfish. They take pleasure in giving pleasure. They love seeing their partner lost in sensation, undone by delight. They listen to your reactions, adapt, push, pull back. They don't rush. They savor. They study you like a fascinating book they can't put down. They want you to feel free to explore alongside them, not just do what's expected. And they love a partner who returns the favor, someone bold enough to flip the script and surprise them right back. Kinks, role play, unconventional positions, playful costumes. For the Aquarius Dragon, these aren't just side dishes, they're invitations to keep passion alive for years, even decades. They'll never judge what you bring to the table, as long as it's genuine and safe. And if you're willing to laugh at yourself and shrug off awkward moments, they'll love you even more. Sex with them isn't solemn or stiff. It's playful, vibrant, messy, and gloriously alive. Spontaneity is the heartbeat of their sensuality. They might pull you close when you least expect it, a stolen kiss behind a half-closed door, a slow caress under a blanket of stars, a word whispered at a dinner party that changes the rest of your night. They see passion everywhere, not confined to the bedroom but woven into daily life like a secret language only the two of you speak. Their biggest enemy is boredom, and it's the one thing they refuse to tolerate. If you become lazy in bed, they'll notice. If you stop caring about the connection, the playfulness, the spark, they'll drift away, heart first and body second. They want a lover who wants to keep discovering them, and who lets themselves be discovered in return. But don't mistake their curiosity for recklessness. They take trust seriously. Consent and clear boundaries matter immensely to them. They want to know you feel safe enough to open every door with them, and they'll protect that trust fiercely. The moment someone crosses a line without permission, the game ends for good. Sex, to the Aquarius Dragon, is a rebellion against predictability, a celebration of freedom and intimacy in one breathless moment. It's a living proof that passion doesn't have to fade if you refuse to stop being curious. With them, you'll never feel like you're repeating yesterday. Each touch writes a new story. Each night, you start again, electric, experimental, unpredictable. And you wouldn't want it any other way. Friendship, the loyal rebel. An Aquarius Dragon in friendship is like a paradox wrapped in stardust, dazzling, elusive, and unforgettable once they decide you're worth their loyalty. They stand at the intersection of rebel spirit and warm-hearted loyalty, making them a rare kind of friend, the one you might not see every day but whose presence can change your life forever. They are the spark in a dull room, the unexpected laugh in a serious moment, the sudden plan when life feels gray and small. And yet, they're also the ghost who vanishes for weeks or months without warning, lost somewhere between their imagination and their next big plan. At a party, they're the magnetic force people orbit around. Witty, sharp, and often hilariously irreverent, they pull you into outrageous conversations, wild ideas, and impulsive adventures. But that same person can disappear from the social scene overnight, not because they don't care, but because solitude calls them like the moon pulls the tide. They need to step away from people to recharge the energy that makes them so magnetic in the first place. When you're their friend, you have their undivided presence. In that moment, you are the only story that matters. They listen deeply, ask unexpected questions, and make you feel seen in ways you didn't know you craved. Their loyalty is not given easily. You must earn it through raw honesty and a heart that doesn't flinch at their contradictions. Once you do, you become part of their chosen tribe, and that tribe is sacred. Betrayal, however, is the fatal blow. Lie to them, gossip behind their back, or use their trust against them, and you'll watch a door slam shut so fast it'll leave you dizzy. They won't scream or beg or give dramatic ultimatums. They'll simply cut you out like a cancer. To the Aquarius Dragon, trust is oxygen, poison it, and they're gone for good. What they want in friendship isn't popularity or shallow connections. They have no interest in climbing social ladders or collecting people like trophies. Status symbols bore them. Gossip repels them. They gravitate toward the misfits and dreamers, the ones who question the world, who laugh at the absurdity of rules, who create and imagine and never stop growing. They'd rather have 3 brilliant, oddball confidants than 100 hollow acquaintances. They are fiercely protective of the people they love. If someone messes with you, expect an Aquarius Dragon to swoop in with razor-sharp words and unexpected courage. They can be your fiercest defender, the voice in your ear that says, "You're stronger than you think." They'll stand by you in moments when others scatter, not because they have to, but because your pain becomes their pain when they care. Don't mistake their independence for indifference, though. They might vanish into a creative project or a solo journey across a distant coast, but they never really forget you. When they return, they'll pick up exactly where you left off. No guilt trip, no awkwardness. They understand that real friendship doesn't need daily check-ins or forced small talk. It lives in deep conversations at 3 a.m., spontaneous adventures that blow the dust off your routine, and unconditional acceptance of each other's weirdness. If you're stuck in a rut, call an Aquarius Dragon. They'll yank you out of it with reckless enthusiasm. They'll plan a road trip with no map, dare you to try something outrageous, remind you what freedom tastes like. They won't let you wallow for too long. Their version of comfort is to push you to grow, not coddle you in self-pity. Some friends will sit with you in your misery. An Aquarius Dragon will hand you your coat and say, "Let's go see what else is out there." They hate clinginess, though. Try to tether them too tightly, demand constant attention, or guilt trip them for needing alone time, and you'll see their affection evaporate. They love deeply, but they love freely. The more you respect their space, the more loyal they become. Their friendship is not about ownership, it's about two whole people choosing each other over and over again. And if you're the kind of friend who can handle a bit of chaos, who laughs when plans change at the last minute, who finds beauty in their unpredictable nature, then you'll be rewarded with a bond that feels like a secret rebellion against the ordinary. They'll remind you that life is more than deadlines and polite small talk. They'll show you that loyalty and freedom can coexist, and that real friendship isn't about always being there but about always being real. In the end, to have an Aquarius Dragon as a friend is to have a loyal rebel in your corner, someone who won't sugarcoat the truth but will never let you face the world alone when it really counts. They're the ones who appear with a bottle of wine when you need to rant at midnight. They're the ones who challenge you when you're stuck. They're the ones who disappear into the horizon only to return with stories that inspire you to dream bigger than before. They may be unpredictable, contradictory, and occasionally exasperating, but they're never fake. And if you can embrace that, the loyal rebel, the sudden ghost, the returning spark, then you've earned something few people ever do: the friendship of someone who will stand with you in every storm, as long as you stand true too. And in this world of fleeting connections, there's nothing quite as rare, or as fiercely beautiful, as that. Business, the visionary maverick. When it comes to the realm of business and ambition, the Aquarius Dragon is a creature of contradiction and brilliance, a living testament to the idea that true innovators rarely color inside the lines. To see them thrive in work is to watch someone constantly push against limits most people don't even see. If you place them in a cubicle under fluorescent lights with a checklist and a chain of command breathing down their neck, they will not only suffocate, they'll break out, tear down the walls, and reinvent the entire office before lunchtime. Routine is their sworn enemy, micromanagement is their kryptonite. The more someone tries to tame them, the more fiercely they'll resist. Their minds are built for big ideas and future-shaping visions. They don't just do a job, they question the job itself, looking for ways to dismantle stale systems and rebuild them from scratch. They despise busy work and empty processes designed to keep people busy instead of inspired. Give them a whiteboard, a blank page, or an open field to experiment in, and they'll fill it with ideas that can feel outrageous at first, until they're suddenly the new standard everyone else scrambles to copy. The Aquarius Dragon's secret weapon is their intuition. While others run endless data reports and second-guess themselves into mediocrity, this maverick trusts the strange, sharp voice in their gut, and more often than not, it's right. They sense trends before the market analysts do. They know when an industry is about to pivot. They see opportunity where others see risk. This is why so many of them become founders, startup pioneers, unconventional CEOs, or game-changing creatives who turn entire industries upside down. Bureaucracy is the one thing that makes their skin crawl. Paper-pushing meetings, rigid hierarchies, mindless rules designed by people who value order over innovation. These are cages they refuse to live in. If they can't bend the rules, they'll rewrite them. If they can't rewrite them, they'll walk out and build something better on their own. They don't mind starting from scratch because to them, blank spaces are invitations for brilliance. They thrive in chaotic, fast-moving environments: technology, cutting-edge design, entertainment, anything that reinvents itself daily. They adore startups for exactly this reason. fluid, flexible, never the same day twice. In these worlds, they're not just comfortable, they're kings and queens of disruption. They're the people who'll pitch wild ideas at 2 a.m., scribble half a plan on a napkin, and somehow turn it into a six-figure deal by next week. Their energy is relentless, their curiosity is insatiable, and their courage to fail spectacularly, then try again, is what sets them apart from the average dreamer. Surprisingly, money alone rarely seduces them. Of course, they want financial security and they enjoy what wealth brings, but cash itself is not the ultimate goal. What excites them is freedom, the power to say yes, to say no, to walk away, to take a gamble when everyone else hesitates. They want influence, a legacy, a ripple effect that proves they were here and they mattered. This is why you'll find them supporting social causes, championing new technologies, mentoring young rebels who remind them of their younger selves. To them, true success is changing the game for everyone, not just hoarding trophies for themselves. Working for someone else can frustrate them endlessly, unless that someone is visionary enough to give them total freedom. If you're their boss and you try to control every move, you'll get their resignation letter before you even see what they're truly capable of. But if you give them space to run wild, they'll astonish you. They don't need a micromanager, they need a partner who trusts their genius, even when it looks like madness at first glance. Of course, their fierce independence can make them stubborn to the point of exasperation. Criticize their ideas too harshly, and they might shut you out entirely. They'd rather be wrong on their own terms than right under someone else's thumb. They hate to be told something can't be done. Those 3 words are fuel to their fire. They'll find a way to prove it can be done, or they'll invent a better question to answer instead. But when you earn their respect, you discover a leader like no other. They're not authoritarian dictators barking orders, they're catalysts. They build teams that think bravely, speak honestly, and dare to challenge each other without fear. They encourage ideas that seem absurd. They love brainstorming sessions that spiral in wild directions. They reward creativity, loyalty, and authenticity over blind obedience. Work for an Aquarius Dragon, and you'll probably work harder than you ever have, but you'll also feel more alive, because they make you believe your ideas matter. They're the kind of bosses who remember your passions outside the office. They'll push you to launch that side project, learn that new skill, take that sabbatical if it feeds your spark. They understand that people do their best work when they feel free, so they fight to build cultures where freedom and accountability thrive side by side. The Aquarius Dragon's ultimate business goal isn't just profit, it's impact. They want to be remembered as a pioneer, a rule breaker, a rebel who saw what could be and dragged it into reality. They want to launch products that disrupt industries, movements that change lives, ideas that outlive them. They know this is how real influence works, and they know they're wired to handle the risk, the chaos, the sleepless nights it demands. So if you cross paths with an Aquarius Dragon in the workplace, know this: you're not just dealing with an employee or a boss. You're dealing with a visionary maverick who believes the future is always up for grabs, and who won't stop until they've reshaped it in ways that make the world sit up and take notice. Give them freedom, believe in their gut, and hold on tight, because with them, ordinary is never an option. Dark sides, the storm's shadow. Every force of nature carries a warning label, and for the Aquarius Dragon, their shadow is as fascinating, and at times as destructive, as their brilliance. Beneath their magnetic confidence and visionary charm lies an edge that can cut anyone who wanders too close without armor. They know they're not like everyone else, in fact, they pride themselves on it, but this fierce self-awareness can twist into something darker when unchecked. A conviction that no one is really capable of understanding them, not truly, not fully, and maybe not even worthy of trying. Their arrogance, subtle or loud, can make them seem untouchable. When they're in their light, this confidence inspires others to rise higher. But when they slip into the shadows of themselves, it morphs into quiet disdain for the ordinary, an icy contempt for those who can't keep up with their ideas, their pace, their restless hunger for more. They may dismiss people who once mattered deeply, all because they now seem too slow, too fearful, too content with life's middle ground. When wounded, by betrayal, by disappointment, by the inevitable friction of living in a world that can't always match their ideals, they often choose cold detachment over confrontation. They hate messy emotional tangles. Instead of fighting it out or confessing their hurt, they simply vanish, leaving unanswered messages and unspoken questions behind like ghost stories. For the ones they leave in silence, the disappearance can feel like cruelty, but to the Aquarius Dragon, it feels like survival. Their sarcasm becomes a weapon when they feel cornered. They'll slice at you with perfectly timed, casually delivered remarks that sting more than shouted insults ever could. Their mind is too quick, their tongue too sharp, and they rarely fight fair when they've decided it's time to push someone away. Sometimes they regret the cut later, but by then, they're likely off in their own world again, unreachable. Isolation is their hidden addiction. They crave connection, but too much of it feels like suffocation. So they disappear into their work, their hobbies, their private rabbit holes of curiosity. The same independence that makes them magnetic also makes them hard to pin down, hard to hold, hard to truly know. They tell themselves they don't need anyone, and the worst part is, sometimes they almost believe it. Their sky-high ideals are beautiful when they're building something new, inspiring a team, or fighting for a cause. But in daily life, these same impossible standards often set them up for disappointment. No partner, friend, or collaborator can match the glittering version of life that lives in the Aquarius Dragon's mind. The mundane irritates them, routine insults them, human flaws can leave them restless, even angry. When reality falls short, as it always must, they sometimes stir up chaos just to feel alive again, picking fights or creating drama they don't really want just to break the boredom that eats at them like rust. They're also vulnerable to obsession. When an idea grabs hold of them, they pour themselves into it completely, burning through days and nights, ignoring sleep, meals, or the people who care for them. They convince themselves that this all-consuming focus is noble, and sometimes it is, but sometimes it's a mask for avoiding intimacy, for outrunning fears they refuse to name. They will chase the spark until they're spent, then blame the world for not keeping pace. Try to control them, though. Try to tether them with rules, guilt, or forced obligations, and you'll discover their shadow's sharpest blade. They will rebel in ways that feel shocking to anyone who mistook their loyalty for submission. They'll burn bridges, sabotage constraints, blow up their own comfort just to prove no cage can hold them, no matter how gilded. This self-destructive streak is part defiance, part test. They want to see who dares stand beside them when the dust clears. In the end, their dark side is not evil, it's human. It's the price of their genius, their originality, their relentless chase for freedom and truth. The same wind that lifts them above the ordinary can also tear at the roots that hold them steady. The same fierce self-reliance that inspires others can push love and loyalty away when they need it most. Those who love an Aquarius Dragon's storm must learn to weather the shadow too, to stand firm when they withdraw, to forgive the cold silences, to see the vulnerable heart still beating beneath the armor of sarcasm and distance. Because even the fiercest wind sometimes longs for shelter, even if they'll never admit it out loud. So know this. The Aquarius Dragon's shadow is real. It can wound, it can push people away, it can sabotage what they most crave, deep, true connection. But for those willing to hold steady in the eye of their storm, the light that follows can be unlike anything else, brilliant, honest, alive with possibility. And maybe, just maybe, worth the shadow it casts. Life goals: leave a mark or burn it down. At their very core, the Aquarius Dragon is driven by an almost defiant hunger to matter, not in some small, private way, but in a way that echoes long after they're gone. They can't stand the idea of drifting through life like a ghost in a cubicle, clocking in and out, living for the next weekend barbecue or the promise of a neat retirement. The thought of settling behind a white picket fence with every day looking suspiciously like the one before is their personal version of purgatory. To them, existence without impact is not living, it's slow suffocation. These people are restless visionaries who see the cracks in the system before the rest of the world even admits they're there. They're the ones starting conversations that make others uncomfortable, asking questions no one wants to answer, ripping up blueprints so they can build new ones from scratch. If you stand next to an Aquarius dragon when they talk about their dreams, you'll hear words like change, disrupt, reinvent, reimagine. They want to flip tables, rewrite rules, and if necessary, burn the entire blueprint down to pour the foundation of something better. They don't inherit paths, they carve them. If they become activists, they won't just march in the street. They'll design the slogans, build the online movement, and spark global debates at 3 a.m. If they become artists, they'll refuse to color inside the lines of a single genre or trend. They'll invent new forms, blend mediums, and use their work to challenge how people see themselves and the world. If they lean into science or tech, expect them to pitch radical theories, found labs in garages, and chase breakthroughs that make traditional thinkers scoff, until those same breakthroughs prove everyone else wrong. Their professional life is just one branch of this tree. The Aquarius dragon's goals run deeper than a single career. They want to touch everything: work, love, family, community, culture. They can't stand injustice, mindless tradition, or institutions that crush curiosity. If they see a broken piece of the world, they'll stay awake nights scheming ways to fix it, even if the solution sounds absurd at first. They're at home among rebels and pioneers, the misfits who refuse to accept that's just how it is. And yet, despite their rebellion, they're not driven by pure chaos. Deep down, they want to build. They believe in a version of the future that's better than now, freer, fairer, more awake. The paradox is that to create this better future, they sometimes have to destroy parts of the present. If that means burning down outdated ideas, so be it. They'll strike the match themselves if no one else will. Family and relationships can be one of the few things that tether them to the ground, but only if that family understands one unshakable truth: they do not belong in a cage, no matter how loving it looks. The moment routine or domestic monotony tries to clip their wings, they'll either rebel from within or quietly vanish into their next big mission. The right family for an Aquarius dragon is one that moves with them, flexible, supportive, ready for sudden detours and new chapters at the drop of a hat. They're not the type to dream about retiring on a beach doing nothing. Even when they're old, their mind will itch for something to fix or question or build. They'll be the eccentric elder who still launches wild ideas, mentors hungry young disruptors, or organizes the neighborhood kids into a secret club that plants revolutionary seeds in the minds of the next generation. The cost of their quest is real. Boredom terrifies them, so they'll sometimes sabotage comfort just to feel that adrenaline of the unknown again. They may uproot careers, relationships, or entire lives overnight if they feel themselves stagnating. This can leave chaos in their wake, but they accept the collateral damage because to them, complacency is a far greater tragedy than any mess they leave behind. And yet, for all this unpredictability, if you stand by them, you'll never question whether you're part of something bigger. To love an Aquarius dragon is to witness what a life of raw, fearless creation looks like up close. They'll drag you into new worlds, new ideas, places, people, experiences that expand your own sense of what's possible. They'll make you see that rules are bendable, doors can be kicked open, and dreams are only wild until someone bold enough makes them real. Their legacy rarely wears a single face. Sometimes it's an invention or a movement or a book that sets fire to old assumptions. Sometimes it's the people they've inspired, the protégés who carry the torch long after they're gone. Sometimes it's the ripple of rebellious hope they leave behind in those who remember one late-night conversation that changed how they saw everything. If you know an Aquarius dragon, hold them close, if you can. They're slippery in the best way. Impossible to pin down, always half in this world and half in the next one they're already dreaming into existence. They'll test your patience, your limits, your comfort zones, and then remind you why you fell in love with that reckless, brilliant glimmer in their eye. Their life goal is painfully simple and impossibly huge: leave a mark or burn it down trying. And when they do leave, they make sure the world they abandon will never quite be the same again. To them, that's the only retirement plan worth having: immortality in the form of ideas, revolutions, or even just the undeniable fact that they refused to settle for the ordinary. So, are you ready to handle the storm? So, are you really ready to handle the storm that is the Aquarius Dragon? It's easy to romanticize the fire in their eyes and the whirlwind of ideas they carry like sparks in their pockets, but living alongside this storm, or loving it, working with it, befriending it, is something else entirely. This is not the calm breeze of predictable days or the gentle hum of easy choices. This is lightning that strikes when it wants, wind that shifts without warning, a hurricane of contradictions that can lift you higher than you ever dreamed and toss you onto entirely new shores before you realize you've left the old world behind. Being close to an Aquarius dragon means understanding that freedom is not a suggestion for them, it's a necessity. They will test you with their restless spirit, push you with their unfiltered truths, and challenge you to stand your ground without ever trying to hold theirs down. They don't do comfort zones. They don't do half versions of themselves to make others feel safer. They bring their whole, raw, tangled brilliance into every room, and they expect you to do the same, no matter how messy, flawed, or unexpected it is. If you crave routine, you may struggle. If you like rules more than rebellion, their disregard for boundaries will frustrate you. If you need constant reassurance or cling too tightly when they drift into their solitude, you'll feel like you're loving a ghost you can't catch. But if you can trust the storm, if you can believe that their wandering always leads them back to what matters, you'll discover a loyalty that outshines every fleeting absence. To handle this storm means being strong enough to stand your ground when they test your resolve. It means loving them for their extremes. The days when they're all fire and ideas and wild plans at dawn, and the nights when they vanish into the quiet corners of their mind, unreachable even as they sit right beside you. It means holding their secrets without turning them into shackles and celebrating their independence without fearing what it means for you. The Aquarius Dragon doesn't promise an easy ride. They promise a real one. They promise a life that never calcifies into numb routine. They promise that if you grow alongside them, they'll keep surprising you, with sudden kisses in the rain, with reckless plans that become lifelong memories, with the simple, stunning fact that someone can love you enough to never let you stand still for too long. To work with them is to stand on the edge of the next big thing, always half in chaos and half in possibility. To be their friend is to have an accomplice in your own evolution, someone who will pull you out of the shadows when you've forgotten how to dream. To love them is to understand that a heart can be a hurricane and a shelter all at once, if you don't flinch when the winds come. If you're ready, really ready, then step closer. Hold out your hands. Say yes to the wildness, the brilliance, the contradictions. Say yes to the long silences and the loud laughter and the burning questions at 2 a.m. Say yes to becoming more than you ever thought you could be, simply because you dared to run with someone who refuses to settle for anything less than everything. So, are you ready to handle the storm? If you are, buckle up, because the next adventure is already waiting. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the mind of the unstoppable Aquarius Dragon, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more raw, untamed stories written just for you, and check out the links in the description for extra glimpses into the secrets of the Zodiac's most electric souls. Until next time, keep your heart open and your spirit unchained. See you in the next adventure.